Hi, I haven't posted anything for a while, so let's catch up. Today I'm working in the farm shop. What you see behind me here is my field sprayer, which is a 1987 model Melro. It's a Spray Coupe 220, built in 1987. It's really in here mostly for maintenance, but the tank has gotten old and is starting to crack, and we don't need any leakage of the material that goes in that tank. I have a new tank sitting over in another building that I'm going to put on this thing, and I need to make some modifications. This thing's been heavily modified since I bought it. Yes, it was built in 1987 and it's old, but for a small farm like we operate here, we can't buy this new stuff that costs $250,000 and $300,000. We have to buy old stuff like this and patch it up and make it run. I took the seat out because the fabric was ripped up and it was starting to tear into the foam and it needed to be reupholstered. I took it to my sister in St. Mary's, Ohio. My sister and brother-in-law, the Mannings in St. Mary's, Ohio, own the Outdoorsman, which is a bait shop outdoor store. They also winterize and store boats for people. They manufacture there on site boat covers, barbecue grill covers. They've made for me a tarp that goes over the top of my fertilizer spreader, my fertilizer buggy, and this time she's reupholstered the seat for this Spray Coupe. If you're in the area and haven't needed that kind of thing, go to my sister's store, the Outdoorsman in St. Mary's, Ohio. Sis, don't say I never did anything for you, kid. Started buying the seeds and the other materials that we need to plant a crop back in September, October, and November of last year. We actually started sourcing and paying for those materials. It's something that we do here. We prepay for things that far in advance. We get a little bit of a discount, and we don't operate on borrowed money because I'd rather get the discount for prepaying it rather than paying the interest on a loan that was used to buy that stuff. Let me tell you something. You sleep a whole lot better at night when you're debt-free and you don't have payments to make. You just have a lot more freedom and you sleep a lot better at night. It's the end of seminar season. I've been to meeting after seminar after sales pitch through January and February. I've been to probably 30 or 40 meetings about how I should be managing my crops and what seeds I should be buying, and half of them are sales pitches, the other half of them are informational things. I'm almost done with that for this year, but I've signed up for one more, which is how much fertilizer do you really need? It's a soil health field day at the Dave Brandt farm in Carroll, Ohio. It's about 140 miles away from here. That's on April the 5th. I got interested in cover crops and no-tilling. In 2012 is when I started doing my first trials on this farm. And I got interested in the potential farming and environmental benefits of that. So I started studying, and Dave Brandt is one of the people whose name came to the forefront. I started studying what he was doing, and he has for the last few years put on this field day. This year, as last year, he's going to have Ray Archuletta from the USDA NRCS there. Ray is an agronomist who is a very outspoken proponent of soil health and cover crops and no tillage. And he's also entertaining to listen to. He's a really nice guy. I've met him once at Dave Brandt's farm a year ago. I'm going to go again this year. Ray's going to be there. Buz Kloot, who is from the University of South Carolina, is a soil scientist. now I don't know this for sure, but I think somewhere I read that Buz was involved in land reclamation, like for mining operations and those kind of things. Also speaking is going to be Dr. Rick Haney from Temple, Texas. He has developed a whole new method of soil testing for carbon activity or carbon content in the soil. Very interesting fellow. He's got some really good ideas. And the thing that threw me over the top as to whether or not I was going to go this year is the fact that Gabe Brandt from North Dakota is going to be there and speak. Gabe is a fellow who has embraced the entire concept of farming in nature's image. At every turn, he eliminates the chemical application and the fertilizer application and the interference of our will against nature, and he observes how the natural system works and figures out how to farm within it. And that was the thing that threw me over the top as to whether or not I was going to go this year, because this is one that I have to pay for. Some of them we get for free because they expect us to buy some product, and they make their money off the product that we buy from them. As soon as they tell me, you know, come over here this evening and we'll talk for a little while and we'll give you a free dinner, I immediately know that they want me to buy something. Is this something that is really good for me, or is it just good for them? I've decided I'm going to go. It's April the 5th. You can find it online at Walnut Creek Seeds. Go look up Dave Brandt from Carroll, Ohio. Walnut Creek Seeds. Look for his field day. It's on April the 5th. I'm going to go and be there. I think it's going to be a really interesting day. I think there's things to learn. The main focus of the day is soil fertility and fertilizer. How much fertilizer do we really need? The next thing that's going to come in here is the corn planter. Need to make sure that it's fit and ready to go, because let me tell you something about farming, folks. If you don't plant it right, if your equipment and your practices aren't right when you plant the seed, you're already screwed. You've already blown it for the entire year. If there's one day that matters more than any other in a farm, it's the day that you plant the seeds. If you get that wrong, it's just wrong, and you are not going to recover from it. Marketing is always an issue on the farm. As much as I would like to romanticize the business of farming and let you think that it's all about going out and driving around the field, at the end of the day, I have to make a profit at this. That's what I live off of. I'd really like it if keep the finances out of it and I could just grow some stuff and eat it, but yeah, I have to make a profit at it. So I have to pay attention to things like the Chicago Board of Trade and the New York Stock Exchange, and how many bushels of soybeans are going to come out of South America, and whether or not they're going to have a dock strike this year. It seems like every year those guys have to have some kind of a fuss down there on their shipping thing, and it throws the commodities prices into a turmoil. This year we have an issue that's just shown up in the last couple of days. The index funds are flooding a lot of money into the grain markets because they're concerned about financial inflation. The currency exchange is in a little bit of an uproar, so some of those money managers are taking money and buying grains with it on the Chicago Board of Trade as a safe haven from the volatility that they perceive in the financial markets. Also, China has been a strong buyer of United States soybeans, but their crushers, the people that take soybeans and crush them out for vegetable oil, are operating at negative margins, so the demand for those bushels of soybeans are going down. It's kind of an uncertain time. The corn and soybean and wheat markets kind of took a jump upwards today, and as best I can tell, it's because there is some report coming out later today or maybe tomorrow as to the ethanol margins that we're going to produce, or the biodiesel margins that we're going to produce, and those things directly affect the price of the product that I produce and try to make my living off of. It's going to be interesting to see how that all turns out. So you thought this whole farming thing was about sitting out on the porch and watching the wheat waving in the breeze?